Unity Church-Unitarian. I'm Reverend Kathleen Rollens. Sounds good. I'm going to let you say a few words.
Hello, hello, testing, testing. Okay, seems good.
What do you think? Do you need more, Mo? Okay, good. So the family will be coming in from the back.
Okay.
And Welcome to Unity Church-Unitarian. I'm the Reverend Kathleen Rollens. I'm serving as the interim senior minister here at Unity Church. We welcome you to this time and this place where sorrow and joy, memory and hope join together to create a living memory of Dale Adrian Bratvold, whose presence in this life brought spirit and sustenance to many. Today, we join in an ancient tradition of celebrating a life in story and music, a gift and source of sustenance for those who live to remember. We are mindful that many faith traditions inform our individual journeys, and we hold in gratitude the foundations and love and service that those traditions hold in common. After today's service, you are invited to join the family in the parish hall for refreshments and more conversation and storytelling about Dale's life. In our tradition of Unitarian Universalism, we kindle a flame in the chalice to mark time as holy, when a child is born or adopted, when a marriage is celebrated, and when a life has ended. And so we kindle the flame now to mark this time as holy, as we remember this one wild, precious life of Dale Bratvold. May our celebration of his life today bring forth wholeness in ourselves, from grief and healing, from memory to celebration and love. For in the presence of life, we say no to death. But in the presence of death, we must also say yes to life. One of our traditions here at Unity is also to reflect on grief. And we come together in community to acknowledge our individual and collective grief, to share what is gone from our lives because Dale has died, and what is in our lives because he lived. We know some things about grief, that grief comes in its own time and own ways, and sometimes grief's presence is not immediately felt. We recall our loved one with fondness and a smile. We go about our daily lives. But other times, a story, a song, an image, a memory will flood our minds, and we are awash with grief. How do we contend with this feeling? Feel it. Feel your grief. Do not hold back tears if they come, and do not hold back your smiles or laughter if they come, for they are expressions of the joy of those memories which are forever entwined with your life. And at times like these, we also turn to poetry. This poem by Donna Ashworth describes best how we feel in grief. You don't just lose someone once. You lose them over and over, sometimes in the same day. When the loss momentarily forgotten creeps up and attacks you from behind, fresh waves of grief as the realization hits home. They are gone again. You don't just lose someone once, you lose them every time you open your eyes to a new dawn. And as you awaken, so does your memory. So does the jolting bolt of lightning that rips into your heart. They are gone again. Losing someone is a journey. It's not a one-off. There is no end to the loss. There is only a learned skill on how to stay afloat when it washes over. Be kind to those who are sailing this stormy sea. They have a journey ahead of them and a daily shock to the system each time they realize they are gone again You don't just lose someone once. You lose them every day for a lifetime. Scripture, poetry, song, music, all of these are venues by which we try to express the mystery of life and death. The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, a series of questions and answers, reflections on some of life's greatest mysteries, raising children, marriage, love, and death. So this is a passage from The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. Then Almitra spoke, saying, "We would ask now of death." And he said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life, for life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. Only when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then you shall truly dance." When we were planning this service and discussing what music to play, it was pretty clear that we were going to play music that Dale would have liked and that Dale probably listened to, certainly listened to. And this one is well known. It was made famous by Pete Seeger and another group. And it's based on the words from the book of Ecclesiastes: "To everything there is a season, and every matter, and a purpose for every matter under heaven." So we're inviting you to sing along with this piece. And if you're comfortable and willing to rise, then please do so. And let's sing together. For everything there is a season. Turn, turn, turn. Our lives begin in mystery, they end in mystery. At memorial services, we reflect on these twin truths as expressed in this reading by Rabbi Rami M. Shapiro. Life and death, a twisted vine sharing a single root. A water, bright green, attaching to top a twisted yellow, only to wither itself as another green unfolds overhead. One leaf atop another, yet under the next, a vibrant tapestry of arcs, and falls all in the act of becoming. Death is the passing of life, and life is the stringing together of so many passings. Death is the passing of life, and life is the stringing together of so many passings. And this is what we do when we tell a person's life story, or as much of the story as our time will allow. We attempt in a eulogy to assemble some of the milestone moments of a person's life, the ways in which we pass from one stage of life to another, until the final passing into the mystery we know as death. So this is a part of Dale's story. Dale Adrian Bratvold was born on March 8, 1957, to Arlene and Roy Bratvold in Great Falls, Montana. His mother was an intensive care nurse. His father was trained as a welder and worked as a mechanic on brakes and large machinery. Arlene and Roy's family included his brothers Mark, Wayne, and sister Diane. In 1959, the Bratvold family moved from Great Falls to South Minneapolis, settling in Columbia Heights, where Dale graduated from high school. When speaking with Dale's family, they all agreed that Dale had a very active mind. He loved learning. He began college at the University of Minnesota, but his insatiable curiosity for the world led him away from the University of Minnesota, first to Boston for a time, and then to San Francisco. And like many young adults, he was in search of the next direction in his life. And he eventually decided on computer science and was awarded a degree in that field. And while working as a systems engineer and programmer, he met Jean Connor, and they married on December 29th, 1991. They began their family with the birth of son Nicholas and then son Zachary. In 2003, Citibank asked him to relocate to either Texas or South Dakota. And Dale chose South Dakota as it would be closer to family and friends. So his family moved to Brandon, South Dakota, raising their boys there. And when Jean and Dale divorced in 2008, he was hoping to find another life partner, and he found one when Jill Ennin entered his life. Jill and Dale dated for a couple of years until they married at a ceremony officiated by his sister, Diane, on December 30th, 2019. Sometime during their marriage, Jill wrote about her love of Dale, and what she wrote then is still relevant for her today. She wrote, "Dale, you are my lighthouse. You keep me safe from life's storms. You are my haven when life's waves get too rough. You are the only one I want for the rest of my life. You are my love and my life. You are my best friend, and I love you. You are the morning breeze after a rain. You are the rainbow in the afternoon sky. You are my silver lining in the clouds of life. You are everything I could ever want. You are the very best person to me. You are my other half. Without you, I'm not whole. You are my love." Jill and Dale enjoyed good years And Dale had many interests. He was a voracious reader, an enthusiastic cyclist, bicycling all around Brandon whenever he could. He loved games, bridge, chess, music of all kinds, from Bach to Bob Marley and beyond. And as I mentioned earlier, he loved learning and reading. His family said he would read anything and everything, from medical textbooks to newspapers to current science fiction. His mind never stopped working. So it was really hard. In 2014, Dale was diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia, and then later correctly diagnosed as Lewy body dementia. And he knew that this would eventually render him unable to be present for his loved ones. He organized a trip to England and Scotland with his boys, and he knew that he would need more care. So he and Jill moved to the Twin Cities and began planning for his eventual longer-term care, knowing that Jill could not take care of him indefinitely. It was his gift to his loved ones, and particularly to Jill, that Dale did not fight moving into a care center when it was time, but embraced it. The disease made it difficult to find the right placement for him, but thanks to the persistent love of family and friends, they found a place where Dale felt at home. Dale kept up several relationships that were important to him, especially his BOGSAT friends. BOGSAT, that stands for Bunch of Guys Sitting Around Talking. And his family and friends remember him as enthusiastic about whatever he attempted to do. If he was golfing, he was going to hit that ball as hard as he could. If he was biking, he was going to ride as hard as he could. He loved spicy food and hot mustard and salty pickles and creamy ice cream. He was irreverent and funny, and sometimes he could just be plain goofy. It was hard not to love someone with that big of a personality, with that much love of life, with a laugh that was described as a memorable, deep wheeze. In the last year of his life, he was able to visit his mother, and Dale loved his mother deeply and was so glad to be able to hold her hand one last time. His love ran deep for his family, his friends, of course, the woman who gave him life. Arlene died in 2023. Her memorial service was held in January 2024. It's hard. It's hard to say goodbye to a presence that was in so many ways larger than life. Yet our purpose on this day is to hold Dale's memory close, to thank him for the gifts he gave us, and to let him go. Dale's son, Nicholas, would now like to offer a memory of his father. Nicholas.
I hope that you'll permit yourselves to smile and laugh as I share a few memories. In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. This was the opening line to Douglas Adams' Restaurant at the End of the Universe, a favorite of Dad's. I can still hear him wheezing in laughter as we watched the movie together in the theaters for the first time in 2005. I always knew Dad to be a goofball. Even now, I'm certain he would have preferred to have been a character in a Mel Brooks film. Yet he chose to be a computer programmer instead. For those who don't know, Dad's nickname was Mr. Ziggs. Although I don't know the story behind this name, I'm certain it's not a nickname that you earn by being an overly serious person. Dad showed me, apparently from experience, that I could be tall, melanin deficient, and athletically useless so long as I could make my teachers laugh and ride the line between a C+ and a B-. His faults are mine too, and I suppose that's comforting. We both spend too much time in our own heads and find more joy than is reasonable in arguing with walls, as if such a thing had reason to begin with. To quote Douglas Adams a second time, he felt his whole life was some kind of dream, and he sometimes wondered whose it was and whether they were enjoying it. Dad loved to smile, and he did so often. Even by the end of my life, I guess I'll have seen more of his smiles than I will have seen sunsets, and I'll still prefer the former. Dad would laugh at his own farts, but they say that laughter is the closest distance between two people. So in a way, his farts brought us closer together. What a terrifying thought. Dad was the kind of dad who made me want to be a dad. He made it look fun and even effortless. What an incredible thing to make love look that way, to make love feel that way. Still, when I think about it, Dad never told me anything about love. He showed me. Every night, Dad would read to my brother and me. Occasionally, we would fall asleep, but he would always come to tuck us in, kiss our foreheads, and whisper, "You can do anything. I love you. You can do anything. You can be anything." The last two bits are lies, of course, but the first was very sweet. The greatest gift a parent can give their child is the capacity to love and to be loved. This, Dad gave me in abundance. Too much, actually. I'd like to return some, if I could. There's something else I learned from Dad. In January 2006, his father died. I was sitting at our kitchen table doing homework when Dad left to see him one last time. As he walked through the door to the garage, he paused and looked back at me, saying, "You know, you'll have to do this for me someday, right?" I was 12 years old then. In J.R.R. Tolkien's Silmarillion, he describes both mortality and immortality as gifts. Even as a child, this made sense to me. Death gives life meaning, and the opposite is also true. Still, death ends life, not a relationship. I suppose that's why we're all here now, hoping to hear something we haven't heard before, anything that stretches his story a little while longer. To that end, if you'll humor me, I'd like to ask you all to do a bit of homework, the good kind, I hope. I'd like you to watch a movie that makes me think of Dad. If you're lucky, it will have the same effect on you. It's called About Time, and I'll leave you to guess what it's about. I'll close with a line from Tim, the son and the main character of the film. We're all traveling through time together, every day of our lives. All we can do is do our best to relish this remarkable ride.
Dale was deeply loved by his siblings, Sister Diane and brother Wayne. And Wayne has asked me to read this reflection on his behalf as he remembers his big brother. I always looked up to Dale, literally. He was 4 years older and 8 inches taller. I could never resist him. When I was little, he would tease me, as brothers tend to do, and I remember getting so mad that I really wanted to hit him. So I went after him, but Dale just grabbed me by the forehead and held me at arm's length while I desperately tried to land a punch, but just swung my fists in the air. The memory makes me smile now. I couldn't stay mad at him. Before long, he would pull me back in because he knew how to have fun. Dale loved playing games, and he would round up the kids in the neighborhood for a game of kickball, football, softball, street hockey, and I wanted to be a part of it. If we weren't playing one of those games, then there was always a board game, a chessboard, or cards. His mind was as active as his body. Dale would bring up some idea and get you to take a side so he could argue the other side. This could seem like he was just picking a fight, but I think he just wanted to examine the subject from every side. It was another way to play a game and challenge himself. It's so hard to believe he's gone. Dale was there my whole life, and he challenged me to try to keep up with him physically and mentally. They say the youngest has everything easier because the older siblings break down the barriers and push the limits for them. And there certainly is some truth to this. But we have it the hardest in the end, when we get left behind. I'll never forget his smile and that twinkle in his eyes that said, "What should we do next?" I'd like to think he's waiting for me with a ball in his hand, or maybe shuffling a deck of cards or setting up a chessboard. Of course he's keeping busy. He's probably riding a bike. We give thanks for the life of Dale Bratvold, for all that he did, and for all that he meant, and for all the memories he has left with us.
Jill asked me for this song, and at first I didn't understand why, because it seems like it's a song about a guitar, and Dale didn't play the guitar. But it's really a song about a love that is like the relationship between the musician and their guitar, a love based on faithfulness and playfulness and mutual enjoyment of one's another's company, which is kind of love that brought and stayed with Jill and Dale throughout their lives. You were there when I was falling. You were there when I fell in love. You were there when I was thinking through them things I was thinking of. You were always right beside me, never out of sight. Turn my never-evers into maybe I just might. Pearly gates fly open when I bow my head and pray. My thunder turns to lightning, you rain sunshine on my day. When the melody's in me, I can hear your choir sing. When my fingers find your strings, you're the sunrise in my morning. You're the warm wind through the night. You dance me through the darkness and you lead me through the light. You answer all my questions and you finish what I start. When I'm at loss for words, you find them in my heart. I hold you oh so carefully. I handle you with care. I never leave without you. I just take you everywhere. We both know I'm less without you. We both know it's plain to see. I ain't holding you, my friend, it's you who's holding me. Your pearly gates fly open when I bow my head and pray. My thunder turns to lightning, you rain sunshine on my day. That melody's in me, I can hear your choir sing. Melody's in me, I can hear your choir sing. Melody's in me, I can hear your choir sing. When my fingers find your strings,
Please join with me in a word of prayer. Holy One, Spirit of life and of love that moves within, among, and beyond us this day, be with us now. Help us to share our grief, to tell our stories, to allow the deepest of joy and pain to intertwine in our hearts as we give thanks for Dale's life. Let us remember all that he taught us about ourselves and about how to live. Even in the midst of our grief, let us be charged not to live our lives in sorrow, but instead to cherish the lives we have, and to reach out to those we love, and to let our love flow forth with abandon, as we are reminded again of the brevity and the unpredictability of this life. Help us to cultivate in our lives those things that mattered most to Dale. And may love sustain us and guide us and bring us peace in all the days ahead. May it be so, and amen. We have heard about Dale's life and what was important to him. And it is now our turn and our task to turn once again to our own lives and discern the lessons of Dale's that we wish to embody. And we turn now to offer a final benediction to Dale. May the universe hold you and receive you. May you be whole and at peace. Those who love you and mourn you will hold you always in their hearts. And although we extinguish this flame, we know that the spark of life still burns within each of us, and know the light of Dale's life now shines within us. Dale's family expresses their deep gratitude for all of you who are here. In the spirit of love, we gathered, and in the spirit of love, we now depart. Gentle people, go in peace. Amen, and may it be so.